Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
Today we got up super early and we are doing the little hike down into Louchier Hot Springs.
We've been meaning to make this video for you guys for like
A few years,
a
for
couple
sure.
years now. We've done it in the winter, we've done it during the summertime, and it just hasn't worked out all that well. So hopefully this time we'll be able to do it. It is 7 o'clock on August 1st. It's been like a bit of a heat wave here, so going to a hot spring seems a little strange, but
Yeah, but it's actually cool this morning. So
it'll be
that's
nice, yeah.
Also, this is our first YouTube video as a married couple. We got married last weekend. So
right.
didn't really change much, but kind of exciting news.
Make sure to stick around until the end of this video because we're going to be sharing with you some other hot springs that are not all that far away and probably our second favorite, third favorite,
Yeah,
maybe,
no, they're natural.
in the Kootenay Valley. Let's get into it. So, Louchier River Hot Springs, I've been going down there since I was a child. Like, I think I've been going down there my whole life. It's changed so much. It's been developed. It's been like landscaped. It looks great. I love that it's still free. But yeah, we've been meaning to make this video for a very long time, so super excited about it.
If you're new to the channel, I'm Kaylee.
I'm David,
And we run a travel and adventure blog called Made to Explore.
where we are all about adventure travel and van life. If you haven't checked out our Canadian Rockies guide, be sure to check it out. These hot springs are in it, along with a ton of hikes, campgrounds, everything we love to do in the Canadian Rockies, so we'll link that below.
The Louchier Hot Springs are not really close to any developed area, which is kind of nice. The closest places are it's 30 minutes away from Canal Flats and about an hour and 15 minutes away from Cranbrook, BC.
Once you turn off Highway 93, the road is just an old logging road. So in the winter time, keep this in mind because it can be a little scary once you get close to the hot springs. There's sharp cliffs that fall all the way down to the Louchier River. During the summertime, it's not so bad. There can be some logging trucks turning on and off, so just be aware.
And it's quite bumpy. I had cabinets flying open and things falling on the ground. There's a bunch of screws loose after driving up the road.
Turns out Kayla was ripping up the road.
I was actually, the saddest part is I was going like 30 the whole time. David had to keep stopping and waiting for me because we were in two vehicles when we went.
So there's a lot of washboard on the road.
Yeah.
It's honestly not that bad.
That's
but
terrible.
good
It's
to know.
how many kilometers up is it? 17? I want to say it's at the 17 kilometer mark or 17
Yeah, probably
miles
something
or
like
whatever.
that.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
something like that.
There's signs on the side of the road from 1 to. We'll put it down below. I'm pretty sure it's 17. We'll see how my memory is.
You're not gonna drive past the hot springs. There's a big sign on the side of the road. There are outhouses and change rooms as well. There's a big parking lot. After you park your vehicle, the trail down to the hot springs is only about half a kilometer and maybe 50 meters of elevation. It's kind of steep going down. They have widened it and put like a railing on it recently, which is really nice.
Yeah, there's like some rock steps.
But-
it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've ran up and down it in bare feet, but probably
Don't
wouldn't
do
recommend
that.
it.
Wear shoes.
Yeah.
Just be worth it.
Wear shoes.
So the changing rooms are pretty basic. Same thing with the bathrooms. There is no shower there, so just keep that in mind. We luckily have a shower on the side of the van that we can use to rinse off, but there are no showers at Louchier.
If you want to turn this into a bit of an overnight adventure, you can wild camp anywhere on the road going up to the hot springs. The hot springs themselves are located in White Swan Provincial Park, and there are some pretty nice campgrounds just past the hot springs, maybe like 10-15 minutes on the road. That's where we ended up camping last night, and it was really nice. Beautiful little spot, beautiful lake. There's also White Swan Lake, which is a larger campground further down the road. But yeah, if you want to camp or wild camp for free on the logging roads, it's up to you.
Yeah, I think the one that we stayed at is called Moose's Lake or something like that, and it was really nice. Let's talk about when you come down to the hot springs. There are several pools, and it is always busy. We have never been there by ourselves, and we got there at 6:30 this morning. So just prepare. I don't know. What time you have to show up to get it to yourself?
I
Maybe
would-
the middle
if-
of the night.
If you show up in the morning on a weekday in the off season, like during the winter time or during the fall and springtime, chances are you'll have minimal people there.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2-3 other people. The hot springs are open year round, and going to them in the winter is so beautiful. The best winter weather for hot spring too. Got a little bit of snow. It's not too cold out. It's
Yeah.
so nice. Like I would recommend it. We usually go there a lot more often in the winter than in the summertime.
Yeah, it's
And,
more appealing to go to a hot spring in the winter
yeah.
too.
I would avoid going during runoff because the pools aren't quite as warm. So runoff is when all the snow starts to melt up high in the mountains.
So tell us what months those are.
Ooh, I'd like to say like May. I probably wouldn't recommend going during like
Like May, June.
May. No, June's usually okay. But just to be safe, probably wouldn't go like April, May, June. Would avoid those 3 months if you can.
Yeah, if you have the option. But if you're in the
Yeah.
area and it's nice out, then go anyways.
Hit it up, yeah.
Yeah. The top pool is the hottest. So that one is really nice to sit in for a few minutes and then you get too hot.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say it's like between 105 and 110 probably. It's pretty hot.
Isn't the max for a hot tub like 104?
Yeah, but that one's hotter. That one's hotter than our hot tub for sure.
We don't know how hot it is, but it's hot, guys. It's like uncomfortable to sit in for a long period of time. But when it's really cold out, it's nice. And then
107.2.
from there, you can run and jump into the river, which is always freezing cold. So that's kind of a good way to balance it out.
Kaylee's never done it, so I don't know why she's saying it.
No, I've sat in it before. I just haven't laid down. David's done the full plunge. I'm not there.
I would highly recommend it if you want to do the real experience.
There's
Full
also-
lay down in the river.
Yeah, if you're a baby like me and you don't like being cold, the pools below just get progressively more cold. So like, I'll lay down in those ones because it's a mix of the hot and cold water and it feels cold enough to me.
Yes. The hot springs do smell like sulfur, like many natural hot springs do. So just a heads up. It's actually not that bad compared to some of the other ones we've been to, but just so you know, they do flow pretty good. So it's always like clean water.
Yeah, the
it's
water's
really
like
nice.
crystal clear. There's
So
always water
clear,
flowing
yeah.
through. Something else to keep in mind, gold does not tarnish in sulfur. Silver does. I had just like my wedding
Oh, this
ring
was really
didn't,
sad.
but this ring actually turned like completely like bronze. But then we went swimming
In that lake that we camped at,
and
turned back.
it turned back silver. So if
Crazy.
anybody knows what happened there, we would love to know. But I'm just
Yeah.
happy that it didn't stay tarnished. But FYI, if you have silver jewelry, take it off before you get in the hot spring.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Bailey's panting in the background. It's a heat wave here.
Speaking of, it is usually super busy. How many people do you think could comfortably be in the area? I would like to say between like 10 and 15, I think.
Yeah.
10 and 15 is like, if you are walking down there and there's more than like 10 to 15 people, I would probably just like go do something else for a couple hours. Go check out White Swan. There are hikes in the area. Just go try to do something else and then come back like later in the evening or maybe even the next day. But yeah.
Yeah, it can be kind of challenging because like the top pool, depends what time of year you go, right? Because the top pool is the hottest, but like if you go in the winter, you want to actually spend most of your time up there.
Mm-hmm.
And that pool can only hold, I would say, 6 people is kind of like pushing it
Yeah.
for the top pool.
Yeah. The pools aren't that deep too. Like they're maybe like 2 feet. 2 feet
Yeah,
deep?
you kind of sit down and they come up to like mid belly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. If you want to fully submerge, you're laying down, and if there's 6 people laying down,
Oh, there
that's
wouldn't be
like
room for that.
yeah, it's hard to do. So
yeah. So we have always gone early. Like we always usually go kind of between 6 and 9 a.m.
yeah,
There's always been, I would say, like 2 to 6 people there when we get there.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
it's
very
also fun to
busy.
socialize though, because a lot of people who go there are fun to talk to, and
Yeah, I mean, it attracts like, it's in the middle of
Good crowd.
nowhere in like hiking area, camping area, so it attracts a lot of like-minded people, which is really cool.
so if you've stuck around until this point, you deserve a little treat.
A little surprise.
And Kaylee is going to share with you our second favorite hot spring in the valley.
Okay, guys, so we're all about the natural hot springs. We're not really fans of the developed ones. Nothing against them, just not our style. We had never gone to Fairmont developed hot springs before because we were like, not really our thing, just the big pool situation. Turns out, if you go past Fairmont Hot Springs and walk down a little pathway, there is a natural hot springs with a hot waterfall right behind it. It's like a 5-minute walk from the parking lot, and it is gorgeous. So we have a video on that hot springs. We will link it below.
And Fairmont is literally right off Highway 93, so.
Yeah, which is kind of nice.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you next week.